Thank you for joining us here. This is the University of Miami's project management program. We're here to go over the session info, the program info. It's going to take about an hour. So we're not going to take up too much of your day. We'll try to keep it an hour. Like I said, this session will be recorded. So keep that in mind. If something happens, technical issues or what have you, we can go ahead and send this over to you. Just reach out to us. Like I said before as well. I'm sorry, Dr. Brian, could you go back? Thank you.
Yeah.
The Q&A section at the bottom of your screen. So at the bottom, instead of a chat function, you have a Q&A function. Go ahead and put your questions in there. We'll go ahead and get to those questions, and you can put them in throughout the session. We'll get to them at the end. If you do have other questions, though, call our direct phone number, and one of our advisors will be able to help, either myself or JC Garcia or one of our other advisors as well. That phone number, if you want to write it down, is 305-284-4000. All right. And then as well, if you'd like to connect with us on social media, we do have social media pages on every social media platform. So feel free to connect with us there. And we'll go ahead and connect with you that way as well. And then a little bit about our division before we get started about project management as a whole. So our division is the University of Miami's Division of Continuing and International Education. So our goal here at the DCIE department is to empower people to reach their full potential in any stage of their life. So we're here for lifelong and life-wide learning. So we do offer learning at every stage, from high school all the way to seniors. We do have education throughout every stage. We have more than 70 credit and non-credit programs in total. And the idea is that we want to help you transform your lives, transform individuals, transform groups and organizations, and as well transform the community. So if you're interested in any other program or have just general questions, you can check out the website, which is dcie.miami.edu, and you can see more info there. And then with that, I'll go ahead and introduce our most famous Dr. O'Brien. He go ahead and get started from here, and he's got a lot more info about the program. So Dr. O'Brien, take it away.
Thanks, Teddy. I am Dr. Brian, and Teddy and I will be jointly hosting today. My background is I've worked in project management for more than 25 years on a wide range of projects. And what I like about teaching project management is we're applying skills that you are going to use in your day job. And then if you're working in project management, you're able to translate that into this program. I've worked all over the country, from rebuilding hotels in Melbourne after the hurricanes in 2006 to a very large project up in Cleveland, $460 million convention center, wide range of different projects. And I'm going to be the faculty member that you will work with in the project management certificate program. So I want to talk a little bit about what we're going to cover today. In the session, we're going to talk about what's in the certificate program, talk about fundamentally it's an application-based program, what your experiences would be, how we can reinforce the ability to translate the information to you and for you to be able to assimilate that, and what the assignments and skills you're going to learn through the program. We'll talk about how the program ties into career readiness and project management paths. And we'll talk at the end about financial outlook, employment opportunities. And the other thing to keep in mind is to sit for the project management exam. There's a component, an education component, I think 25 hours. This taking the project management certificate program meets that qualification, whether you're taking the PMP exam, the CAPM exam, so this helps you from that perspective. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I want to get started with
Dr. O'Brien, I'm so sorry, before you continue on, I just wanted to mention, I saw somebody raise their hand in the chat. I believe it was Amanda. If you guys have questions, go ahead and use the Q&A function at the bottom, type in your question, and we'll go ahead and get to it at the end. It's going to take a little too long if we act to every question that pops up. So just type it in. We'll get to the question at the end. Okay, gang? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
No. So, and from a time perspective, this is about 20, 25 minutes. And so, as Teddy said, we'll have 15, 20 minutes at the end for questions. But yeah, certainly fire those questions into the chat. We'll keep track of them. So in the project management program, this is our starting point. When you log in to the portal, you'll come into the virtual project management zone. This is where you would start. And what we look at when we develop this program was we want the skill development is a central part of the learning. It's not just memorize parts of the PMBOK and go take a test. You know, the participants, when you participate in this program, what you're going to be able to do is demonstrate how you know how to use the knowledge areas, not just from what you know, but also through the practical application. And, you know, this is our landing page. And like I said, we developed this program so that it walks you through the steps of applying and learning the skills at the same time. And so how is the program set up? There are 7 different sections in the project management certificate program. And I'm not going to read what those are, but you can see they're mirrored in how the Project Management Institute looks at their processes. You know, and so we have, for your support, not just assignments, but we have case studies, we have practice quizzes. You know, when you go into our portal, you'll have an option to look at a lot of different components, not just of the learning piece, but support pieces. And from a material perspective, obviously we rely on the project management book of knowledge, but we have a textbook that goes with it too. And the textbook's not one of those 600-700 page, you know, dry books. Our textbook is also case study driven, practically based. You know, I've been teaching in higher ed for a long time. It's a good textbook. It's helpful for the students, and it's tied into our materials. So this is the framework for what you'll learn. We're still going to mirror PMI processes because that's important to understand and know. You know, but as you move through the program, what we have, and there are 2 options for you. You know, whether you're going to take the program in the classroom, live online, Mondays and Wednesdays from 6 o'clock at night to 8 o'clock at night, where I'm talking to you and we're going through PowerPoints and asking questions, answering questions, or whether you're doing it traditional online, the asynchronous, where I'm going to send you a schedule. You know, you have 12 weeks and you know that I have to do these assignments by these days, but it's on your own pace. The content's exactly the same, whether it's the online at defined times, whether it's asynchronous. So you have 2 options, same content. People learn different ways. So we give you those options, you know, to look at it from either perspective. Okay. So back to our project management program. When you come into the digital component, okay, we start you off in our virtual project management zone, and then we have a lot of tools that we have inside this, and starting with a virtual project management office. You know, so one of the things we want to do is we want to organize this in a way that it's clear for you to understand what are your assignments, what are the readings, and what do you have to do throughout the project. So this is you know, one of the boxes. You know, when you come into here and you say, okay, where do I go from the project management zone? You have a list of all the assignments, and the assignments also have presentations. There's a PowerPoint that they're anywhere from 10 minutes to 15 minutes, some maybe 6 or 7 minutes, but there's a narrated PowerPoint presentation that goes along with the reading, because we know that, you know, as a learner, some people learn really well just by, you know, reading stuff. Some need, you know, some additional things to facilitate that. So in our virtual project management office, we have readings, we have presentations for you. They're always there. They're there weeks, you know, all the weeks. If you need to go back and look at something, it's still there for you. And then we have another section of the course that'll list, here are your assignments and here are your tests. The project management certificate program, the way we evaluate, are you learning, are you demonstrating to us what's happening, is half of it is assignments, half of it's exams. You know, so the assignments, and I'll talk a little bit more about those, but this is where you'd find a list of what your assignments are, and as well as the tests. What we do for the assignments is we have templates, the template documents that what you're going to do is you're going to work on a project. You will select a project that's your choice, something that either you're very familiar with or something you're working with at work now, and you're going to work through learning the different processes, the different PMI processes, by actually executing them and building the different components through these templates. You have to identify the stakeholders, you have to identify the risks, you have to identify what your budget is, and you'll turn an assignment in. Myself as the faculty member, I'll look at what you've turned in, provide feedback. It's a grade, but it's also an opportunity to tweak it and adjust it. And so that when you're done, you've got something that walks through the execution of a project. You know, it's going to be start to finish. But we're not asking you to figure out how to create a risk register. We're going to give you information on how to do that. And like I said, those documents build, those are all within the course shell as you do the assignment. So when you click on an assignment link, it's here's section 2 assignment. fill out these components. So what we want to try to do is there's PMI processes, there's readings, there's PowerPoints that are narrated. And then when you go to do the assignment, this won't be foreign to you. We're giving you a template that says, here's how the different components go together. But it's a project you select. I will work with you to tweak it to make sure you're not trying to pick a project that's way too broad or it's way too narrow. And that's really important as you start into the program, is having the right focus, which is also a component of initiating a project in project management. Okay. Application-based focused, as I mentioned, you're going to do the things that you would normally do in the PMI context of how do you document a project. You're working in project management now. Do you always do a project charter? Maybe not. Do you do a RACI chart? Probably, maybe you do, maybe you don't. But what we want to be able to do at the end of this program is you have the skills and the knowledge on how to do all the components as defined through the Project Management Institute steps in project management. So we're going to have you do something in each and every one of the segments, not just reading about it, not just watching PowerPoints, not just taking tests and memorizing information. You're actually going to apply that in application-based assignments. So in each of the weeks, when you go into the weeks to do your assignments, there is a place where we have not just the assignments, but we're going to have, like I said, there's different tools in here to help you. And it's pretty user-friendly in terms of where do I go to submit an assignment. The interface that we've set up in this learning management system platform, it's very user-friendly, it's intuitive. You can go back to the original starting point, and like I showed you before, there's a place for the assignments. You click on the assignment, it'll tell you, hey, this is 50 points. It's relatively easy to upload. And if you upload it and make a mistake, you can resubmit it another time. So what we've got is a framework for you to continue moving through the program. The tests, I mentioned there's tests along with the assignments, kind of a dual path. Those are not all due at the same time, but like I said, you'll get a schedule that lays out, over the 12-week period in the Project Management Certificate program, what items are due when. The tests are a mixture of multiple choice and true/false questions. Again, there are folks who are really good at taking tests. There are folks who are really good at assignments. Now, the way we look at your success in the project is if you can maintain a 70% average across all the assignments and across all the exams. That's what you have to do to be successful in the program. So it's not balanced too much on one side or the other. And then as you look at moving through the program, we have a lot of other tools in our project management hub that will help you as you move through it. There may be some component of project management that you're struggling with. If it's identifying stakeholders, do I have all the right stakeholders? So if you look in the web study support in the upper left-hand corner of the project management hub, at each of the steps through the project, and there's 7 sections, you click on the link where it says number 1, 2, 3, and there are additional materials inside there. We have case studies that are similar. You're going to do a project. You're going to work your way through a project. We have 3 different case studies that give you examples. And you may be doing fine for the first 2 or 3 sections of it, but then you get stuck on a component of, you get stuck on one of the components on, if it's estimating. You've never done cost estimating before, and you're not sure how to put a budget together. So we have some case studies that have examples and have protocols on how other organizations do those kinds of things. We have study tools for you down in the bottom left on practice quizzes. And then one of the things that we think is really important is when you're done with the program, you're going to take all the things that you've created and create an e-portfolio. You're going to have a set of documents that it's not just good for you, but it's good for you to take away on, here's what I did, as a reference, but also as a tool that you can use in the future. So this part of our website, the Project Management Hub, is a great resource for you to be able to use. We provide that to help facilitate student success. And at the same time, if you go into any of these links and you still have a problem or an issue, that's what I'm here for as the professor. You can shoot me a text message, shoot me an email. I was talking to a student last night at about 8:30. He was having some challenges around risk qualitative and quantitative differences and how to monetize those. And if he was just looking at the qualitative components of his risks, was that enough, or did he have to put a number to them? So that's what I'm here for. I'm available every day. And, so we want to try to provide support for you, whether it's through any of these documents, through other examples, and through a professor who's available for you. So when we say we have web study support, one of the things we have is, and I mentioned earlier, there are PowerPoints that are narrated. We have written documents that mirror project management, the way the Project Management Institute walks through their different components of a project. So sometimes if you read the pinball, it can be a little bit dry, and they like to draw up flow charts and talk about processes in, processes out. We have supplemental information that we've taken from the information they have and try to explain it a different way. So we've got a lot of tools for you as a student to try really to try to give you every opportunity to be successful. And it might be that you understand everything about the fundamentals of project management, but when somebody says, what are the ethical considerations? You're thinking, well, what's ethical about the fundamentals of project management? We've got a tab here that's a reminder. And where does that come into play? If you're going to take a quiz, or if you're going to take an exam, there may be a quiz question. And so you'll have a place as a resource that you can use at the same time to validate your mastery of that knowledge. Okay. So study tools. I mentioned we have study tools, and I mentioned we have practice tests. We have a series of practice tests. If you're saying, hey, I'm supposed to take this exam by Friday, midnight, I'm not sure I'm ready. If you take that practice exam on section 3 and you get 50%, probably you're not ready. So what do? Then you go back and look at our knowledge checks. You look at key terms, take a practice quiz. What we don't want to do is have you in a situation where you're like, well, it's Friday, I have to take a test, I hope I'm ready. That's not the intent. The intent is for you when you're ready. Now, we have timelines and we have deadlines where you have to make progress through the program, but if for some reason you have to send me an email saying, somebody in my family got COVID and I can't take the test this Friday or Saturday, can I have a couple extra days, Dr. Brian? I can work with you. We can do that. It is the online asynchronous piece. It is self-paced, but we don't want you to force yourself into taking a test and getting a 30% and saying, oh my gosh, what did I do there? I knew that material. We have study tools that help you understand what's key. And if we have items that we're listing in key terms, there's probably a reason. It's probably going to be a test question related to that. So we want you to be successful, but we also want you to master what's important so that when you represent yourself in the University of Miami by saying, I have a skill set in project management, and you walk into a meeting with other folks who have that same certification and same certificate, you're all talking the same language. So that's part of the reason you have to master a body of knowledge. And that's what we're trying to do, is help you get there with a range of tools as you move through the program. Okay. We have some other tools, the types of study support tools. Some people learn different ways. Like I said, I do really well when I listen to a PowerPoint that's narrated and I write down my own notes. Other people do better with things like fill in the blanks, or how do you study different terms. So we have different tools within the environment where you can click on. What's really nice about it is there's a wide range of options. It's not just read the book, read the readings. Now what do? We have other interactive tools for you to work with to enhance your ability to be successful as you go through this program. Okay. Case studies, I mentioned case studies. We have 3 different case studies for you to look at. Chandler, Arizona, for example, has their own detailed project management processes, very specific, very detailed. We have a project that goes through the different sections of the different processes. So if you say, how does my project relate to controlling, or communicating? What is my communications plan supposed to look like? We have an example in here for you to look at, not copy per se, but give you ideas. So we don't want to just say, just go out and Google it. Here's some examples. It's incorporated. And what's nice too is, if you thought the stuff in section 2 was important and relevant to your project, you get down to section 4, section 5, you can pick it back up. And so these are all tools for you to use as a student. Again, as you work through your project, and I mentioned, you're going to start with a project. You're going to stay with that project through the whole course, adding additional information to it and filling it out so that you walk all the way through the project from start to finish, from initiating all the way through closeout, documenting what steps are, who's involved, who's making decisions on your project, how is that project actually going to be executed. Okay. So where does this lead you? Part of the reason you're here, part of the reason we have this program is we want you to be successful, but also have other opportunities. How does that work? Well, maybe you haven't written a resume in 5 years, 10 years. Even if you wrote a resume and got a new job 2 years ago, the market is always changing. We have tips and tools for writing resumes, cover letters, how to do a job search. There's so much now in the social media realm compared to where you'd find a job 3 or 4 years ago. So we want to help you be successful. So we have tools that you can use as you get through the program and see that, hey, I'm going to be ready to either move in my own organization. Even in your own organization, you might need to update your resume just to apply for an internal position. So we've got tools here to help you do that, how to update whatever you have and try to be successful. If things like practicing interview, if you haven't been to an interview in a while, it could be nerve-wracking, and just the fact that even if, I know this material really well, I interviewed a guy, I hired a guy that works in my department in December. And he had been unemployed for about 3 months, and he was really, really nervous, and I could see that. But one of the things we want to do for you as a student is we have tips for you on how to be successful in an interview, how to prepare. And so we want you to have these as tools in addition to learning all the items you need to do to master your ability to be demonstrate folks that you're successful at project management, that you know what you're doing with project management, but also how to get to the next step. So project management, when you complete the work in the process groups, as I mentioned, all the things you're going to do are going to build in documents that you will be able to have as takeaways. Again, whether it's a risk register, a stakeholder register, or a project scope statement, those are things you're going to create, and those are things that you're going to have as tools that you can use to show potential employers. One of the things I know I do when I interview candidates is, yeah, you say your resume says you're a project manager. What can you show me that you've done on a project? Or what can you tell me about what you've done? And so this facilitates your ability to say, this is an example of a project I worked on. This is what I've done. And it's professional, and it meets all the PMI standards. So you're going to have these tools as takeaways when you go meet with potential employers. So what are our program outcomes? We want you, when you get the project management certificate, to be able to clearly be able to say, I understand the knowledge areas and the process groups. I can implement them. It's one thing to understand them. I can implement them. I can show you that I've implemented them. Many of you are probably already successful project managers. Can you demonstrate that in the context of the project management book of knowledge and PMI's processes? That's what this does. This says, yes, I can do that. I've been able to do that without question. So that's what we want to be able to do as a program outcome. Is this certifies that you can meet those guidelines and expectations and the standards established by PMI and recognized by employers. So our program, it's application based. The whole idea is to give you opportunities either in the field you're in or in other fields. One of the things that we've seen, and I'm sure you've seen, is that there are a lot of folks in the United States that are getting older, myself included. But folks, we're going to have almost 90 million new people working in project management roles in the next 7 years. What does that mean? That means we need folks who can take those jobs on. And just being a good project manager isn't enough in today's marketplace. You have to have something that says, University of Miami's project management certificate program says, not only can I do it, I have mastered these skills and tasks. So there's going to be opportunities. Here's the other thing, and you're probably aware of this, and it's probably part of the reason you're here today, is if you're working in the project management field with a certification, there's going to be more money involved. Who doesn't want some more money? So there's a premium. It's not just, hey, I'm doing this job. Oh, by the way, I have a certificate and a qualification. Almost every organization, if you have a certificate, a qualification, a license, there's a reason to pay you more money. That's what we want to be able to do. Is this is demonstrating I have a skill, I've mastered the skill, and there's a financial reward that comes with that. What else is happening in project management? Project management 20 years ago was construction. Then banking industry and IT said, we're not really great at projects, and maybe we need some more rigor. Well, what's happened now is even places like healthcare organizations have project management offices that oversee wide components of the organization. You say, how does a hospital need a PMO group, project management office? They do. They've recognized it, because everybody's being forced to be more specific in identifying budgets and identifying schedules and being held to that. So organizationally, having a project management certificate, puts you in a position in almost any industry. Almost any industry today, project management is recognized as a function, a separate function, and a specialized role. And that's an advantage for you in the marketplace. You know, so as I mentioned, there are a lot of opportunities. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for hiring people. And first and foremost, again, my title at the job I work at a utility is I'm the manager of project management. When we advertise positions, it's always, are you PMP certified or have certificate? Those are the candidates that float to the top. There are going to continue to be opportunities. The folks that have the certificates, that have the credential, they're the ones that are going to get the first look. So what does that mean? Why are you here today? You're here today because you're interested in an opportunity to demonstrate your skills and to get a certificate. This program, application-based, skill-based, it's a combination of learning and demonstration. We want to be able to offer you that opportunity to put some credential behind your name. I'm going to turn it back over to Teddy to talk a little bit about where we're going at the University of Miami and when you can get involved.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. O'Brien. And yes, I know there's a lot of information, guys, but like you said, we're here for you. We want to give you as many options as possible to join this type of program to get this sort of training done. So I cheated a little bit. I saw some of the Q&A questions, and a lot of them did revolve around the format, right? So for those of you that have questions about the format of the type of program, go ahead and get a pen handy or something like that so you can jot this down. But essentially the course, we offer it in every major semester. So we offer it basically every month and every year, basically. But we do have major starts every year. So our next start is this spring 2021 start. And like Dr. O'Brien said, we do have two formats. So our main course is the live remote online section. So that is the group section, like he mentioned, where you're with him or an instructor and you meet Mondays and Wednesdays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. for about 12 weeks. Again, that's a group class. It's live. You guys are meeting on the computer via Zoom, and you can ask questions and things like that in that live class. You do have the same access as the asynchronous students as a group class, but the idea is that the content is being given to you at specific times every week. So for those of you that want to do something like that, that class does start February 22nd, runs until May 12th. Okay, registration is available for that group class, February 22nd. And again, you are meeting Mondays and Wednesdays, 6 to 8 p.m. Now, for those of you that need something a little bit more flexible, where you can't meet at specific times every week, we do have our traditional online class. So the traditional online class is more schedule-based, where you have the same amount of time. It's about 12 weeks. The class is fully online. The content is fully on our platforms. The videos, the review content, the case studies, all that is on our platform. You'll get access to that. And that course is your own section. So it's just you and the instructor, and you're able to keep up with the schedule that we give you. Basically, the deadline for the assignments, the tests, you have to keep up with those to keep up with the course, and obviously need a minimum, as Dr. O'Brien said, of a 70%. So that individual class that's online, those start on the 1st of every month. So February 1st, March 1st, April 1st, May 1st, so on and so forth. There's a start on the 1st of each month. Now, as I mentioned, registration is limited for both sections. Ironically enough, even though they're online. The group class is at about half capacity, a little bit over half capacity at the moment, just to give you guys an idea. So registration does close if we reach the certain amount of seats. So just keep that in mind. Really, the earlier the registration, the better.
And just I'm just going to elaborate a little bit on what you said, Teddy, is if you're in the live online classroom, that's the February 22nd to May 12th, there's you and another group of students. You'll know the other students. If you're in you and 5 other students might start the online asynchronous the same time on March 1st, but you won't work interactively with each other. That the online project manager certificate that's asynchronous, that you're at your own pace, but you're also by yourself as your own student, versus the live online where there's a cohort group.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly that. And another big difference is the format itself, the scheduling, right? So I actually am an alumni of the program. I needed something when I took the course. I needed something very flexible. I was doing my master's. I had a job. I had a life. I needed something flexible, which is why the traditional online class that starts on the 1st of every month, that was a good option for me. But everyone learns different. We want to make sure that we have different formats available for everybody. Right now, everything is remote or online, but we want to make sure that you do have the different formats available. So if there's any questions about that, put in the chat and we'll get to that afterwards. But I did see a lot of those. So hopefully that answered some of your questions. And then for the rest of 2021, so, it's been a troubling last few months at least, but we're always looking ahead. We're always looking forward. So for 2021, we have some big plans for our division, our program for project management overall. So I'm going to quickly go over these. Dr. Brian, if you have any comments, just go ahead and jump in. But essentially, this program, we are at the moment the only accredited training partner for PMI at the moment in Florida. So what that means is our instructors like Dr. Brian can speak to this. They've gone to the training to make sure that we are up to date with PMI information. That's crucial for what we're doing because again, regarding PDUs and things like that, we want to make sure that you are getting the most up-to-date content that again is in line with PMI. So at the moment, we're one of the few, I believe we're the only, if not one of the few in Florida at the moment to do that. And then moving past that, we do have later this year launching our two special courses. So one is an exam prep course, and that is for individuals that have all the project management training, have all the certification or certificate training, have all the experience, and they just need to really brush up on how to pass the PMI exam. So that is what that exam prep class is for. It's really just to figure out and brush up how to prepare for that exam. It's not a comprehensive review of the field. It doesn't go into specific details about the field. It really is just an exam prep course.
I took the PMP exam 20 some years ago, but it's a unique kind of exam. A professional engineering exam is problem based. The PMI exam, the PMP exam, this course is aimed at how do you pass that test because it's a little bit different. It's a little bit unique, but you have to have the background. You have to have, as Terry mentioned, you have to have the background, the experience, and the knowledge of the processes before you show up to take the exam prep class. Go ahead, Teddy.
Exactly that. And that's what our main traditional course does. We teach you comprehensively how to be a good, competent project manager. And that's what our course has always done. Now, we found from feedback that some students, years down the line, they want to take that PMI exam, but they want to prepare. And that's why we're offering this additional prep course. It's really just for those that are ready to take the exam, but just want to fine tune those test taking skills, essentially. So beyond that, we have, and this is going to be my favorite one. Beyond that, we have our concentration programs. So again, taking feedback from students is that project management is very broad. You can, like Dr. Brian said, you can put it into any field. There's a project manager in every field, almost every department. We have one in our building, in education. I mean, there's one in everywhere. So with feedback, we found that students wanted to get an additional portion that focused on their field. And that's what these concentration sections are. So essentially, these are additional modules that'll focus just on your specific field. And that can be right now, we're looking at IT, we're looking at healthcare, we're looking at construction, risk management, business, legal, government, program management, and also portfolio management. And again, those will be offered a little bit later in the year, and those are focusing on those specific areas, essentially.
Those are 12-hour courses, Teddy?
I don't know the finalization if they ended up being the same duration. I couldn't tell you at the moment since they're a little, this is just sort of prepping everyone so you guys are aware that this will be offered later on. But this is essentially an add-on after you get the comprehensive base course. This is basically an add-on on the top of that. I don't know the exact timing, and we can get back to students on that with more info once it's a little bit more ready to launch later this year. Okay. And then with that, so back to our main courses and the pricing, right? So, I think a lot of you are numbers people here. So go ahead and again, like I said, grab a pen or something so you can write this down. But this is the program tuition. So our project management live online class, that's where you're with a group, meeting Monday and Wednesday. That is $2,995. The individual section, where you're online, but it starts on the 1st of every month, that's just $500 more. So that ends up being $3,400. And then, like I said, later this year, once we have our concentration programs available for registration, those will be online as well, and the tuition will be $2,495. And then you can check out our website, which is there at the bottom, continue.miami.edu/PMP, to see more info there as well. And then another popular question I get from most students is, okay, so I'm ready to join, I'm interested in the program, but how do I cover the costs? So like we saw, the cost can range from $2,500 to $3,500. So we want to, again, give you as many options as possible. And there are three main options to cover the cost. So the first option is that full payment. If you have the full amount, just go ahead and go to our website. It's like shopping online. You make an account, you grab the course, you put it in your shopping cart, and you make your payment. You're done, you're registered, you're good to go. Now, for those of you that want to do a payment plan to basically break up the payments, we do have an in-house payment plan. Basically, it's the same method. You create an account on our website, you grab the course, you put it in your shopping cart, and then the second option will say payment plan. And basically, again, if you want to write this down, it's 25% deposit to little under $800. And then there are 2 monthly payments, about $1,100 to $1,200 each monthly payment, but essentially it's a 25% deposit and 2 equal monthly payments. Again, that's just the tuition. That's the same tuition you would have paid for if you did a full payment. There is a $50 setup fee, 50, but that's the only additional cost. I personally think that's the best option. Instead of putting it all in one shot on one credit card, that is a good option. You just pay it monthly during the course. And then the last option for most students is the student loan option. That is from a private bank or lender, or third-party lender. That can be from any private or third-party lender, like your employer, a bank, Chase, Sallie Mae, Wells Fargo, your own personal bank. It could be any private bank or lender that offers private educational loans. And that's the key. It does need to cover, and it does need to be a private educational loan, essentially. Now, there are some students, and I know it's not on there, there are some students that do want this covered by their department or by their employers or things like that, which we do that all the time. That's something that your employer would have to verify if they would cover this. We can go ahead and create an invoice for you and send that over to you. And that's just, if any of you are thinking about having your employer cover that, let us know, let our office know, and we'll go ahead and work with you. And then with that, so we're at the end of our slideshow here. So we're getting to the Q&A. So Dr. O'Brien, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up some of the questions. I'll go ahead and feed those questions to you.
Sure.
If it's something you can answer, go ahead and do so. If it's something I can answer, I'll just take the question. Yeah. Okay, so the first one here was a good one. First question is this class at your own pace? It sounds like it is.
Yes. Yeah. And so, if you're signing up for the asynchronous version where you're signing up as a student, like I said, I'll send you a schedule for the 12 weeks of the due dates. And, there's 7 exams. There's more than, I think there's more than 7 assignments. There's, I think, probably 12 or 14 assignments, but it'll say, March 8th, you have an assignment due, March 13th. And so you can turn them in early. It's up to you. If you know you're going on vacation for Easter, for example, and you look at your schedule, and when I send you the schedule, I'll tell you that, hey, look and make sure this works around your personal, schedule and issues. If you get behind on a component, I'm going to see that. I'm going to send you an email too, saying, hey, it looks like you're a little behind. You had something due on Sunday. I'll give you Monday or Tuesday, or maybe I'll bug you on Monday. But it's up to you. And then, but effectively, you have 12 weeks to complete all the work. I will not let you get very far behind before I start saying, hey, by the way, you're behind, because we know from a statistical perspective, you're more than 20% behind in the work, you're not going to get to the end date. So I'm here to facilitate your success. But effectively, as Teddy said before, when he took the program, it is at your pace. There are milestones you have to hit. If you're working in project management, you should be able to do that. But you figure out how you structure it and schedule it.
Awesome. And then with that, someone else asked, what is the length of the course? And as we mentioned before, it's about 12 weeks in duration, depending on which format you go with, the group class or the individual class. And the cost ranges from about $29.95 to $34.95 for the cost. Again, those are on the website, continue.miami.edu. You can check those out there, but you can always reach out to us and we'll clarify that and the cost later on as well. Dr. O'Brien, I have another good question here. So we'll have one here that says, will this certification prepare me for an entry-level position as a project manager without prior experience?
That's a tough one. If you don't have experience as a project manager, but it's an entry level position, this gives you a background. One of the things that'll happen in that interview is they'll ask you questions about the different PMI processes. What do you know about stakeholder engagement? They may ask you a question, a sample question about, here's a problem on a project. What would you do? Having been through the certificate program, you'll know how to apply project management techniques and what the verbiage is around solving problems. So if it's an entry level position, then you have that opportunity, and you're certainly competitively ahead of other folks. So ideally you're working in that industry already and you have some background and knowledge of it. In my organization, we have a range. I have a senior project manager, I have a project manager, I have an assistant project manager position. And, so it gives you a competitive advantage against those folks. Most project management jobs, you do have to have some level of functional knowledge about the industry. And this gives you that advantage to be able to move into project management. When I recruit people into my project management group from other parts of the organization, they don't have to have any specific project management background, but I prefer that they do. So to answer your question, if you're looking at an entry level project management position, this will give you, I think, a significant advantage over the competition who just says, oh, I know the organization and I know the type of work we're doing.
Right. And just to add on to that is that at the end of the program, we are confident that you at the end of the program will be comfortable with the information, with the experience of being a project manager, of setting your plans, of setting your projects, your charters, things like that. So because you're comfortable with it, when you get to that interview part, because they will see you have project management certificate from they'll see that on your resume. So when you get to that interview part, the idea is we're confident that you will be comfortable with the information you're going to give out. Yes, I do know how to set a budget. Yes, I do know how to divvy up my group and make sure that people are doing the right tasks. So yes, it can definitely allow you to start at any entry level position in that sense. But you don't have to. It depends on what your goal is. For me, for example, like I said, I did take the program. I was able to learn a lot from the program. And what I found is that even though I'm in the same, building, I'm more of a senior now. I'm being given extra tasks. I'm handling reports. I'm handling groups. So even though I didn't change the project manager position, right, I've been given additional tasks. And like Dr. O'Brien said, it doesn't hurt that you did training, because sometimes you can ask for a raise and things like that as well. And I mean, who doesn't like that, right? But again, it can be used in an entry level position. It can be used in your current position. The idea, really, the sky's the limit with this type of training and understanding of project management. So Dr. Brent, I have another one here. The question is, can you clarify the difference between CEUs and PDUs, and how many does this program offer?
The PDUs and the CEUs, I mean, the difference, continuing education, I guess it depends on continuing education. You need to maintain certifications. Professional development is similar. I don't know, like, the context of the specific question. I know, like, for example, for my PE license, they call them continuing education. For PMP, it's professional development. 6 of one, half dozen the other. I think it's just the nomenclature. The number of hours.
But I think you got it, Dr.
Yeah.
Brian. It is, you're basically maintaining license. Continuing CEUs typically are maintaining something, maintaining a license or whatever. PDUs, professional developments, is to get you to that PMI exam. You need these PDUs to get to that exam.
Well, and the other thing, once you have the certification, you have to do a certain number of professional development units. It's every 3 years. You're certified, you're good for 3 years. It typically, an hour of instruction is equal to 1 hour credit, for a CU or a PDU.
Right.
Do you,
So
I don't know what, I don't know how many credits this counts for in PMI. We can
yeah,
get
well,
back to you though.
the biggest takeaway is we can definitely get back to you with the specifics. The biggest takeaway is this meets the hours or educational requirement needed to take the PMI or the CAPM exam. So those exams require not only experience as a project manager, typically, not the CAPM, but typically they require experience or a degree, and then they also require some sort of educational training. And that's what this course qualifies. It checks that box off essentially. Um, and let's see here. Is the program available on campus? So unfortunately, at the moment, the program is not available on campus. It's fully remote or fully online. It looks like we're going to be like that for a little while until for safety reasons. We want to make sure our students are in the safest environment possible. So until that moment comes, we'll keep students virtual or remote. Once things are a little bit more back to normal, hopefully soon, we'll start to bring the class back into person, which the earliest would be September, to give you guys an idea. But that's still way in the future. So I have a long question here, Dr. O'Brien. Just bear with me. So this person says they are director in a sales department, but they're not a project manager. I'm looking to get a better understanding of what my project managers do and how I can help them succeed. Would this be a good course for non-project managers?
This would be a tremendous course for that. One of the things that you would find is, when people that work for you are unable to solve problems, you will then, having been through this course, be able to ask them a range of very detailed, very specific questions on, which stakeholders pushing back, and how does this align with what our project scope was? Is this a change in the project requirements? Are there qualitative issues associated with the work product we've delivered? So it'll give you a framework of dealing with folks that allows you to ask better questions. It allows you to have a better understanding of what their job is, and are they meeting the functional requirements of their job? What kind of criteria, what kind of quantitative criteria can you give them to evaluate their ability to perform on their job, and what's a reasonable expectation? Are they hitting their goals and expectations for their projects? There's folks who are really good at explaining why they didn't meet targets, and there's what this course would do was give you a great background in understanding how to evaluate them, what they should or shouldn't be doing. Are they using all the tools in their tool bag to get their job done correctly?
Awesome. And I have another good question here, Dr. O'Brien. What are the requirements to join this type of course?
Go ahead, Teddy.
Oh, well, I was just gonna, and I'll just answer that real quick. In that this program, we try to make it available for anybody that wants to join. Essentially, we don't require any specific degrees or any specific licenses to join. Essentially, if you're ready, if you want to learn the material and you're comfortable with English and using a computer, you can join the course. It is on our website, continue.miami.edu. You just create an account there, and it's like shopping online. You grab the course, you put in your shopping cart, and you register right there.
So the only thing I would throw as a caveat there is, I've taught project management classes before where, just like this one, you're going to work through a project. So you have to have some idea in mind of something where either where you work or where you've worked in the past that fits the description of a project that you would be able to write about, that you would be able to kind of have a depth of information about. You don't have to have done the project, but you could ask somebody in your organization, hey, what happened here? Or what happened there? So if you have kind of really no knowledge about projects at all and don't really work on projects or don't know anybody that works on projects, you could have built your own house. If you built your own house, that's a project, but if you really have no kind of project based, and then it's going to be a lot harder for you. So I'd say that's maybe about the only prerequisite is knowing something somewhere somehow. Doesn't have to be like I worked in construction before. It could be an IT project. I mean, I worked for a water and sewer authority where we converted all these paper processes to automated processes. That was a complex project, but that was a project. So that's what you have to have is, in addition to what Teddy said, some idea of what you might think about to write about as a project.
Right, right. And there's a lot of questions, guys. I don't think we're going to get to all the questions today. I do apologize. If you do have other questions and we don't get to them, give us a call, 305-284-4000. We'll go ahead and get to that question. You can leave me a voicemail if we're still in here at that time. And we'll get to that question, but I'll try to read off a few real quick. So any material cost for books and things like that. There is a cost for the books, 2 books, typically the Pinbox 6th edition and our review comprehensive book. Typically it'll run anywhere from $50 to $150, depending on where you buy it. But that's just to give you an idea. Let me see here. The guys, as a reminder, there is going to be a code given at the end of this session at the last few minutes. We'll go to that side in a minute, and that code will reduce the price for the project management course. Just input that code when you are registering. Make sure to put that code in. The books are not included. And if there's no code available, go ahead and give our office a call. I know that it's a little bit easier to speak with an advisor. So again, 305-284-4000 for that discount. Just let us know that you attended. Let me see if there's anything else here. Requirements to subscribe. Again, it's really just a payment to fully register. It could be a full payment, a minimum deposit of 25%, or the student loan. And let's see here. I see someone's in the current course. If you're, okay, so perfect, Dr. O'Brien. So go ahead and guys, look at the screen here for the waiver, the 10% waiver code. Like I said, just go ahead and give us a call at 284-4000, and we'll go ahead and apply that for you. I thought there was a code on the screen, but I apologize. We'll apply that for you ourselves. If you're currently in the course, it looks like someone's in the course currently, you do need to speak with your instructor or Tori Anderson. Her email is tea31@miami.edu. But again, if you're having issues, give us a call and we'll see what's going on. Dr. O'Brien, I'm not going to take up too much of your time, but I have maybe 1 or 2 here that we can get to. What happens if you don't keep up with the continuing education? I think that's a student referring to something you said earlier.
So continuing education would be once you have your PMP certification, you get I get email reminders from PMI. I think I have 2 more years, but if it lapses, like mine lapses, if I didn't renew it by May 31st of 2022, you have like a 6-month window to make it up. Really, what happens is you end up having to pay a provider a couple $1,000s to take classes with them. But working in the project management profession, you get credits for working in the project management profession. For attending local PMI chapter meetings. Once you have the certification, again, like I said, it's good for 3 years. You get reminders to stay on top of it and don't wait till the end. But if you do wait to the end, and one of the guys that works for me, that happened to him last year, it only cost him like $300, so he wasn't too far behind. But there are opportunities out there. There's a lot of providers who will help you get the appropriate continuing education so that you can stay sort of. And then if you renew it within 6 months, I think it's 6 months, you don't have to go through the whole process again.
Perfect. We're about to finish up here. I know there's a few employees of the university. It looks like if you're an employee of the university, you're looking to use some sort of benefit. This is a non-credit certificate training. Employees, military veterans, even government workers are eligible for a 20% discount. So if you're an employee, just give our office a call and we can go ahead and help you with that. But that is the sort of benefit available. And guys, one more thing, the PDUs, someone had asked that before, we do offer a total of 48 PDUs for the main comprehensive course. And then the concentration courses, like we mentioned before, that will be offered later this year, those are about 12 hours in duration. So those are those IT, healthcare, concentration courses, and to be able to choose those, which one fits you, comes down to Dr. Brian. I don't know if you want to speak to this, how to choose which concentration course they go into eventually.
Sure. I mean, again, that depends on if you're working in that field already or you want to transition into a different department in your organization. That's where you'd look at that concentration because they will focus on, project specific types of projects in that field. So you're either in that field or you want to move into that field. That would be why you'd want to get into that concentration.
Awesome. Awesome, guys. So I think we answered most of the big questions. We may have missed a few. So if you do have other questions, like I said, give us a call, 305-284-4000. I'd be happy to walk you through that registration process. Oh, someone did ask another question. So we can only apply one discount. Just as a reminder, if you're an employee, you're military, veteran, or something like that, you do get a 20% discount only. It's either 20 or 10% there. You can't stack them in that sense. I wish we could, right? Our system only allows one discount. So just keep that in mind, guys, when you're calling to let us know which discount you're eligible for.
It's just
And
like
then
online
again,
shopping. Just like online
e-
shopping, Teddy. You can't stack the
exactly.
coupons.
Exactly that. Guys, so if you have other questions, like I said, call that number or give me a call directly. My name again is Teddy. You can reach me at 305-284-3049. Okay, and if I'm not available, call that main line ending in 4000, and our other advisors can help you at that time. But with that, everybody, I think we've covered a lot of content. Dr. Brian, I don't know if you have any last words before we close up here, but I just want to say thank you, everybody, for being here. I know this is about an hour. We took almost exactly an hour, but thank you for everyone being here.
All right. Thanks for coming and looking forward to seeing the course and working with you on your project.
Yeah, exactly, guys. Hopefully, we'll see you in the course. If you need anything, we're here to help. But otherwise, I hope everybody has a great day. And then, oh, you know what? Before I let everybody go here, there is a survey if you guys want to go ahead and complete that. There's a survey there at the end. We'll send that out. I believe it's being sent out via email, so just keep an eye out for that. And when you get a chance, just fill that out. And again, for the discount code, just let us know. Okay, guys?